Hi everyone, today I have with me Steve Buchman, Director of Learning Operations at MillerCoors. Steve will be speaking at our upcoming event, Next Gen LMS, which is happening June 18th through the 20th in Austin. Steve, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be with you, Jeffrey.
We're happy to have you as well. So I want to start off most broadly, what does Next Gen LMS as a term mean to you?
I think it's very important of where we are in this day and age that us as learning professionals are up to date and up to speed and ahead of the game when it comes to technology and technology in learning. And not just fancy technology, but technology that's actually teaching people and building capability to drive business strategy. So Next Gen to me is really the forefront of being able to think about what is next. How are we going to build capability with all the technology as fast as technology changes and have the systems to support it so we make sure we're measuring it to assure we can tie it to business results.
That makes a lot of sense. So I'm wondering, it sounds like there's an evolution kind of going on about how we're looking at learning, how we're measuring learning. So thinking of your work at MillerCoors, how is your approach to, I guess, learning most broadly changing? But given that this conference is focusing specifically on the LMS, have you guys been changing how you're viewing or thinking about the LMS structure?
We have. So we've been on the same LMS for about 3 years now, and the next year we're going to be going on to a new LMS. Basically, our old LMS was a tracking system, so we could put instructor-led training in there, we could put e-learning, and that was about it. It's difficult to pull statistics out of. You can't tie it into other systems very easily. So we began thinking about 2 years ago is how are we going to move technology forward in learning with this LMS that we have in place now, with the understanding that in a year from now we're going to have a new LMS that can be much more social learning based. You can put other things up there besides just an e-learning or an instructor-led course. It's more than just a logistical tracking system. So we take that lens in all the learning that we build. And right now we're using a bunch of different technologies in order to be able to deliver our learning strategy with the LMS that we have, but being prepared for the new LMS. So let me give you a couple of examples. We have a mobile app that goes out to our customers. So we've leveraged that mobile app for our internal employees to be able to deliver bite-sized video training on tools that they need at the right time and the right place at the right moment when they're talking to their customers. Another example would be we're using a third-party vendor for a social learning platform for our top leadership at MillerCoors. And they have about every 6 weeks, they have a different topic, and they have to go in and take courses on that topic. So we started out with performance management, and now it's a finance, and that's bite-sized videos, that's discussion boards, that's TED Talks. That is everything that you kind of think about when it comes to a blended learning solution. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of two things that we're doing with the eye on the future. So I challenge my team to say, okay, here's what we have and here's where we're going. Let's make sure we're building for where we're going. I think most importantly, are we using technology and are we making those investments now where it's driving business strategy? It's very easy to buy technology for technology. We do it all the time at home when you have 6 different phones and 4 different iPads and notebooks and things like that just because you're a technology person. That doesn't make sense in today's business world. So we're making the investments in the technology that are going to drive the business. Another example is we have what we call our Best of You guide, and that's basically a curriculum of all the courses we offer at MillerCoors University, and it's tied to the enterprise competencies and leadership requirements. So for the first time, that is now mobile, so people can get to the courses when they need it, what they need, and get to the information. The idea is that we'll transition into our new LMS and be fully linked. So once you see a class, you'll be able to click on it, get all the information on the class. Now it's pretty much, we have the tool and the structure, now getting the system up to speed to be able to do that.
Wow, it sounds like you guys are doing a lot of stuff all at once, which is kind of a lot to even think about rather than, even implement and put in place. But yeah, going off of that, one of the things I want to talk about kind of specifically is talking about, it sounds like you guys are doing some mobile learning, some micro-learning. I want to talk, that's kind of going to be a big part of your discussion at the upcoming event. your session's titled The Devices of Our Times, Designing Microlearning Environments for More Relevant Training Programs. So can you talk about that move from your sort of traditional, maybe instructor-led or e-learning model to something that's more bite-sized and how that's sort of changed learning at your organization?
Yeah, so we've been going through a transformation over the past 3 years of becoming an enterprise learning culture, where we had learning in bits and pieces, and we had some award-winning learning in leadership development, for instance. We're still fairly new with our overall sales curriculum. That's about 3 years old. Our marketing curriculum, which is only a year old, and now we've just embarked on our curriculum for our integrated supply chain. And traditionally, people thought about learning as come to a classroom, whether it's in your plant or in Milwaukee, where we have our MillerCoors University physical space, or go take an e-learning, most likely because I was told to go take an e-learning or it's something I need to know. So I like to push leaders to think about it a little bit differently, and I actually had this conversation with some regional vice presidents the other day, and I said, if you broke a window at your house, how would you go about finding out how to fix it? Well, I would Google it and watch a YouTube video, and then maybe read something up on a document about the window itself, and maybe go to the Home Depot website and see if I can get a replacement window. And I said, that's what we need to do to think about learning. And we're starting to do that in areas, but really thinking about it when they need it, where they need it, and how they need it. And with such a diverse workforce where we have salespeople that are home-based or they're on the road 300 days a year, to our plant and manufacturing hourly workforce, they're 8 hours on their feet running a bottle line or running a can line. How do we make sure that we're delivering learning to fit that audience, but doing it in a way that it's blended?
Something thinking a little bit more outside of not just exactly what you guys are doing at MillerCoors, but wondering if I know you'll be offering definitely a lot of advice in your session, but one of the things that I found most interesting, and you did a great job, I think, of explaining how you guys have done it at MillerCoors, is preparing for the rollout, that this is not just we picked a new LMS and we're just going to roll it out in a few weeks or a few months. It's a multi-year process, and this kind of paradigm shift in how you even think as a learning designer, as a learning director, how you're outputting that learning and how people are then going to be consuming it very differently. So how do you even get your feet, like just dip your toes in the water, get things started with that when you're accustomed to these ILT or these e-learning modules to go from a drastically different bite-sized focused learning curriculum?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things to make sure that I'm asking those questions and getting to where we need to get to, and that is I have a tremendous team, and they come in every day or a couple times a day showing me new things. Hey, look at this. Hey, look at that. And some of it's great. Maybe we can think about it. Some of it just kind of gets those juices flowing. So I think that's one thing, is having a team that comes to you with ideas. And it's not only my team. I'll get emails from my senior director of learning and development, or even our chief human resource officer saying, have you seen this new technology? Check it out. Or let's sit down for 30 minutes and talk about it. Understanding that we're not going to buy everything and we're not going to be able to do everything. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the second thing, is just making sure and getting that information from peers and from superiors. The second thing is I am partnered extremely tightly with our LMS, the person who's rolling out our LMS. And she and I talk daily, multiple times a day. So I'll ask questions about what the system will be able to do, and then be able to go back to the rest of our learning team and say, hey, let's start thinking about it this way so it works within the system. The other way, I'll push her and I'll say, this system's not going to drive our business or our learning strategy. How can we make changes to it, or how can we make updates, or what are some things we need to think about to make sure that we're not saying that our strategy is going to be driven by limitations of a new LMS?
Mm-hmm.